Hey, what's up everybody? It's the Crypto Ginger here. I just wanted to quickly bring you guys some very exciting news when it comes to a major expansion that's getting ready to take place. At the more recent Paris FinTech Forum that happened this year, we actually heard different types of companies that were going to be there speaking on behalf of their companies and the products working on, such as Brad Garlinghouse, who is the CEO of Ripple, and of course we have the CEO of Swift, Godfrey, speaking on behalf of Swift as well. We also got news, according to this CoinDesk article, that Swift CEO had announced that there's going to be an integration with R3. This is absolutely huge when it comes to the expansion being made here, and of course, again, connecting these companies directly to Ripple in some form or fashion. If you're unfamiliar with R3, please go out and check that. I have plenty of videos that talk about R3, the connections that have been made. One of the more important connections with R3, and I would highly suggest checking out my last video about SBI Holdings and R3. But R3 and Ripple created what's called the Corda Settler. That is a settlement mechanism that allows for people that are on the Corda platform to transfer money back and forth when it comes to settling payments. XRP is the only option available to settle payments right now through the Corda Settler. That right there is something that will be expanded upon from my understanding, but right now XRP is the coin being used. How big is that when it comes to having different banks related or at least connected to Swift onboarding themselves to the Corda platform and now have an available option to transfer money back and forth to other available banks on that platform using Corda Settler. Now, of course, the Corda Settler, again, using XRP as far as the settlement mechanism. And of course, this is something that is a big connection when it comes to R3 and Ripple. Now, of course, this is not saying that any of these banks are getting connected directly to Ripple or getting on board with RippleNet. This is just simply the connection of integration between Swift and R3. This could lead to something even bigger than that later on down the road. But of course, this right here is just the start of something very big, very expansive. And again, now we're starting to see a large amount of connections being made directly to Ripple in some form or fashion. Something else I found very interesting when it comes to the talk of all this, especially with this FinTech forum that happened in Paris. So a little bit further talk in regards to that Paris forum that took place, where we see again Brad Garlinghouse and even the CEO of Swift speaking on behalf of announcements and of course news and what's happening as far as the expansion with their companies. We have heard obviously from Brad Garlinghouse several times about this topic, but he actually reiterated this at this particular forum. He specifies that the future in which cryptocurrencies are used as payments is at least 5 to 10 years away. As of today, the biggest risk for market is regulatory uncertainty. So guys, with this little bit of information in mind, we definitely have to keep that in the back of our head when it comes to the price of XRP. I see a lot of people that are anticipating a huge price jump in XRP tomorrow or the next day or within at least a couple of weeks from now. Everybody's expecting this huge incremental jump with the price point of XRP, where we simply have Brad Garlinghouse stating that this is going to take some time. This is going to take anywhere from 5 to 10 years. However, we can look at this as a very big positive when it comes to this information here, because we don't have to look at 5 to 10 years as being a long time away from actually being able to see some sort of nice price increase with XRP. This is just simply a way to think about it as far as retirement. If you could get yourself onboarded as an early adopter into types of cryptocurrencies such as XRP now, and then in 5 to 10 years when you start seeing majority of all the banks and financial institutions actually onboarding themselves into R3's platform or Ripple network and getting connected that way, and then we start seeing XRP being utilized very heavily between these banks, that's when you're going to see a major increase in the price of the digital asset XRP. Now, of course, this right here again is just more information to let everybody know that the progress is there. It is happening. So as you can see, R3 and Ripple are definitely leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of the competition that's out there when it comes to integrating banks and financial institutions as big as Swift into the network and getting themselves more familiar with the blockchain technology, but more importantly, the distributed ledger technology. And really, when we start seeing these banks onboard themselves this way, we're going to start seeing a lot more utility coming out of the XRP coin. One last thing I wanted to quickly go over here. While researching the information about Swift and R3, I happened to stumble across this article from AMB Crypto that felt very fitting. It was titled, "Ripple and XRP will take over the US and the world one step at a time, disrupting the payments industry." Now, this article reiterates a lot of information we already know, a lot of information that's been announced on many occasions here. Definitely a good read if you're new to this kind of topic here. And of course, if you're new to this channel, please definitely give this article a read. It sums up a lot of the information very nicely. And of course, something else I found very interesting when it comes to the topic of Ripple that will actually help speed along the payment transfers is the topic of Cobol, which actually is something I found in another article here. In this article here from News BTC, we get a little bit more reference behind the topic of Cobol and the relationship between that and Ripple, and of course, what it can actually do for the different types of companies that onboard themselves using Ripple Network, and of course, utilizing things such as XRP, more importantly, through XRapid. Actually, Ripple specified a little bit more in detail about Cobol, stating that it's a novel atomic broadcast algorithm that works in networks with non-uniform trust and no global agreement on participants, as is probabilistically guaranteed to make forward progress even in the presence of maximal faults and arbitrary asynchrony. This right here is definitely something that's going to help at least speed along the process of different types of transactions when it comes to utilizing things such as XRapid, which makes a use case out of XRP. So those XRP transactions, instead of going through in a process of about 4 seconds, according to this article, you can see all that will change and will take 1 second before reflecting on a holder's wallet. So Cobol is really the idea of helping speed up the process of transactions through the use case of XRP. So now, as you can see, the